So following that, let's get to some Kings talk. Our weekly Kings and Celtics talk. Let's first go through the Kings. We'll just go through the schedule real quick. Caleb, we have the most back-to-backs. Again, are you surprised?
No, I'm not surprised. Here's the thing. People don't really talk about the Kings on national media, right? And I feel like if one team's going to get shit on, I feel like the NBA is just kind of like, just give it to Sacramento. You know what I mean? And, like, it sucks that you guys get picked on like that, but at least you get to see more games in a way. You get to see them more often.
That's not how it works.
It's kind of how it works.
That's definitely not how it works. They all play the same amount of games.
No, I mean, like, you guys get to see him more often. Like, you don't have to wait as long to see him play.
Yes, we do, because after a back-to-back, we have to wait like 4 days.
You're not going to wait that long, trust me. They're going to end up flexing so many games this year, just like the NFL had to recently.
Yeah, I want to get to that in a little bit of what we think is going to happen with that. But I want to finish off with the Kings. They have 20 of their first 38 games at home. They don't play Luka in the first half of the schedule. Thank God. And our first game is against the Denver Nuggets in Denver, which, again, a slap in the face of the NBA saying, hey, Mike Malone, look at your former team. You want to whoop them around a little bit? So that's what we'll get. Speaking of some Kings news, we heard today that the Hawks offered Oklahoma City's 2022 first-round picks in the sign-and-trade for Bogdan Bogdanovic, in which the Kings, quote, rejected. So what ended up happening was Bogdan signed the offer sheet in Atlanta. The Kings didn't match, and now this news is dropping that the Kings gave up this offer, which now everyone's like, hey, let's all go shit on the Kings. Again, keep in mind, so why did this happen? First of all, let's say this trade would have gone through, right, Caleb?
Yeah.
Let's say nothing happened. So if this trade would have gone through, the Kings would have most likely gotten a second-round pick. Why? Because this would have turned into a second-round pick had Oklahoma City not finished as a non-playoff team. So if they would have made the playoffs, then the Kings would have got the pick. Oklahoma City's projected to be probably the worst team next year. There's no chance the Kings were going to get a first-round pick next year. It would have probably turned into 2 second-rounders, which, again, that's all right, but that's not make or miss. You're not going to die over that. So I think the NBA is overreacting. Do you think people are overreacting?
Yes, because just how I mentioned earlier with the whole John Wall thing, that first would have conveyed into a second-round pick. And realistically speaking, a second-round pick short's better than nothing, but it's not make or break. You know what I mean? Like, what is it? Like 80% of second-round picks get fizzled out of the NBA within 4 years. Like
most percent of second-rounders don't even make the roster.
Yeah,
it's just too much. I think people are looking at picks now as the hottest commodity ever. I mean, look at the way
shout out Sam Presti for that.
Oh, people are looking at Sam Presti with their heart eye emojis. Like, man, I get it. Picks are great, but you realize a pick doesn't mean a championship. A pick doesn't mean you get a star. It just means you get a young player that could potentially be a star, but has a likelihoodness of becoming a bust. Most first-rounders are guys that are fringe rotational players. There's 1 or 2 stars in each draft. So again,
like a Luka Doncic, and you know what I mean? Like, and then you land the guy like Marvin Bagley. Like, that's a good example of a first-round pick. Like, sure, it's a first-round pick, but you got to draft right. And if you don't draft right, you're just setting yourself back.
The Kings also picked up their 4th-year option on Marvin Bagley.
Well, there you go. See, you guys got Bagley back. See? Be happy.
Can we talk about this for a second, Caleb? Can we seriously talk about Marvin Bagley? Can we sit down and talk? We talked about it with our good friend Abe. He has a lot to say about how I feel about Marvin, but he has me wrong. Again, Marvin Bagley is a talented player. I'm happy the Kings picked up his 4th-year option. Vladdy is no longer in office. He probably didn't even know an option had to be picked up. He probably would have just been like, no, I thought you draft a player and keep him forever. So I'm glad that we have someone smart enough to pick up the option. That was a given. We knew that was going to happen, correct?
Mm-hmm.
But here's the toss-up, and you tell me what you think is going to happen. So usually players in their contract year, what do, Caleb?
Ball out.
And in specific, how do they ball out? What do?
Go off.
By?
Scoring a lot.
Exactly. So they're gonna be out here trying to, you're being difficult, okay? So they're gonna go out there, someone like Marvin Bagley, right?
Mm-hmm.
Marvin's gonna go out there and try to absolutely dominate, which to me, great. But here's the issue. When you put out a guy like Marvin, his concern right now is not about winning. His concern right now is not about minutes. And his concern isn't really about how he can help his team in the best way. Marvin Bagley's number one option right now is worrying about how he can get that next contract. Because guess what? Guess what's coming up next summer? Marvin Bagley's max extension. So to me, I could see some issues coming up where Marvin decides to be a little bit more selfish. And for an already selfish player, that very much worries me. His assist ratio is extremely low. And I just, in a season where you need Marvin to play, I think most Kings fans are just saying if he can play 60 games, that's a win, right? That's a successful season. But I don't know. What do you think is a win for the Kings right now? Do you think if Marvin, let's say he goes off, let's say he plays 50 to 60 games, but let's say he's a little bit more selfish and he still ends up getting that max, is that better, or would it be better for, hey, let's say Marvin misses about 20, 30 games, 40 games again, and then you know what? Maybe the Kings get him on a cheaper deal.
Honestly, I think even if he does play like 40, 50 games and he scores like, I don't know, let's just say 18 and 10, even if that happens, I don't think he's going to be able to get – even if he scored like 23 and 10 because of his injury history, I don't think Kings are going to just jump out and give him the max. And I don't think there's really going to be a team that wants to, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like –
Detroit?
well,
Detroit's
he is a
on
big
line one. They need another center.
– this is true. I think you guys are safe, but I think for both sides, him going off this year would be massive because it would get people off your back just a little bit about the Lucas situation.
I think people are over that. I think it's more of just the Marvin situation. People are making fun of the fact that Marvin cannot stay healthy. And even when he does, again, there are moments where it's just like, yes, everyone talks about Marvin Bagley when healthy. He's a monster. He is, absolutely. But there's still a ton of lapses in his game. And we're forgetting that because of how much time he's missed. So I would love to see Marvin play. I would hope that we can prevent him from being the let me go for mine, because I'm going to be straight up honest with you. I think, again, and I said this on draft night, that if the Kings draft Marvin Bagley, it'll be the biggest mistake the franchise makes. I think if they sign Marvin Bagley to a max or near max extension, that'll be the biggest mistake they have made since drafting Marvin Bagley. And I will leave it at that.
You hate Marvin Bagley.
Please stop pushing the narrative, Caleb. I already have people on my back telling me, why do you hate Marvin Bagley? Why do you think Marvin Bagley sucks?
Why do you think he sucks? No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to do that to you.